Good afternoon, Eagles. We're going to talk for a little bit about a number of issues with regard to how we work and live together here on the campus at Liberty North High School, home of the Eagles. It's my pleasure to welcome everybody to the start of a brand new year, and we're looking forward to another great year here at Liberty North. To walk through some of the things that we need to talk about, we'll take some time to explain some of the policies and procedures that are really important for us to remember as we start the year together so that there aren't any questions or doubts about certain things. These things may seem like they're kind of simplistic or not something that might pertain to you, but it's important for all of us to understand these things and take a little time at the beginning of the year so that we have the same understanding about some very important issues that hopefully many of these things in terms of the behavioral things won't happen, but there's a lot of other information that's going to be important for how we work and live together. So let's get started. The thing I'd like to start with is in terms of a context in which to talk about these things is found in our core values. The faculty developed these several years ago, and they're a wonderful way of kind of putting together our thoughts as we work together in a very clear and orderly manner. And they are respect, excellence, accountability, community, and honesty. And if we think about how we love and respect each other and really work well together, then we can work toward excellence. And that's what we have done here at Liberty North. If you understand a lot of the statistical things that we will be relating here in the coming weeks. Also, we hold each other accountable. And that's what we'll be talking a little bit about today in terms of some behavioral things and policies and procedures. And that creates a really nice community. When we live together in a very peaceful and orderly and a way in which we help each other grow, not pull each other down, but help each other grow up, we make a great community, and that's what we have here at Liberty North. And to underscore all that, we need to be honest about things. So tell us how we can be better. And students tell us adults how we can be better. We're going to be working with students in terms of how to be better. And the integrity of that process is communicating really well. So, and that goes back to respect. I'm going to talk through some of the major issues that hopefully won't happen but can happen in terms of behaviors, actions that lead to school disciplinary actions on our part, and legal consequences as well. So I'm going to take you through these things. These are some of the major things that are in the handbook, and instead of having you read through all these things, we're going to talk through it verbally here for a little bit. The first one goes to assault in first and second degree. And assault is basically where someone attacks somebody in an unprovoked manner and hurts somebody for absolutely no reason at all. And that carries with it a very severe consequence, all the way up to 180-day out-of-school suspension or expulsion, depending upon the severity of the situation, as well as the police would be called and charges would be filed. So if you know of anybody that is really upset about somebody and might do some physical harm, we really need to know about that so we can intervene and take care of that before it goes to any kind of a physical situation. Kind of along with that is bullying. There are two types or several types of bullying. One is verbal, telling somebody, putting someone down and making them feel uncomfortable, don't even want to walk down that hallway because that person's there, to cyberbullying, texting somebody, and that goes into another aspect of bullying, which is cyber texting. And there's sexting and cyber texting that all now falls under this category of bullying, where we can bully people by how we send something through the electronic devices we have, or by what we say to them, or actions that we carry out physically. I think you all know what that is, and I think you all know how it can hurt people and upset people and create kind of a dissonance, if you will, that they can't really focus and study and participate in things they want to participate in because of this feeling that comes about with this silly nonsense that happens when we act in such a way as bullying people. So those things also carry with them severe consequences that can go up to 180-day suspension from school, as well as legal charges being filed. So again, these are things that are very serious and we don't want to participate in. Next category is drugs and alcohol. There are several categories for this, but again, even first offense, depending upon whether you purchased something or whether you possessed something or whether you transferred something, handed something to somebody, handed somebody a pill, or an alcoholic beverage, or you brought it onto campus and possessed it. or sold something. All of those things carry with them consequences ranging from 90 to expulsion, 90 days of suspension to expulsion, and will definitely be involved in the law and legal charges being filed. So again, if you know of any of these things going on, it really is going back to having a great community where we let people know in authority that some things like this are going on and we can deal with it. The worst thing we can have here, and we did have this several years ago, in our first year of operation, a student got some pills from another student and they went into an epileptic seizure and we had to take him to the hospital. We almost lost that student because somebody was so inappropriate and so wrong in handing a prescription drug to somebody and thinking that that would make them feel better, and they almost caused that person to die. That is why these consequences are written in black and white for us to understand, and why we have severe consequences with it. Next one I referred to a little bit earlier, and that's electronic devices. Suffice it to say, in the classroom, we have our laptops, which are wonderful devices, great learning devices, great social devices for a lot of things in very appropriate ways, but they also can be misused. And so that, along with any cell phones we might bring in or iPhones, the teacher is in charge from the beginning of that class period to the end of the class period of any use of any electronic device. If the teacher says, I really don't want to see anybody have your cell phones out, that's the rule in that classroom. If they allow them to be out because they're going to use them, or they trust that you're going to use it appropriately and it not interfere with your learning, that's totally up to the teacher. Just understand that when you walk into a classroom, you need to understand what the teacher says and what the teacher expects about any use of any electronic devices. The next category is fighting, kind of going along with assault, that if there are two people involved in a fight, legally there are basically two ways of thinking about any physical altercation. One is an assault, which is a one-way deal where someone comes up and hits somebody and does harm to somebody physically. The other one is fighting, and that first one's called an assault. The second one's called an affray, and that's when two people get involved in a fight, and the suspension's all the way from an in-school suspension of so many days up to 180-day out-of-school suspension, depending upon the severity of that, and also depending upon whether or not it interferes with school time. If it interferes with school time and causes people to be late to class or something like that, there definitely are going to be some more severe consequences attached to that. Because if you can't learn to deal with an issue between, and we can't help you with that, to deal with an issue between another person, there are going to be severe consequences if it comes to a situation where it interferes with the learning process for anyone else. So again, those things carry with them suspension consequences as well as legal consequences. Another category is vandalism. Any damage to school property or anybody else's property here can result in consequences of suspension and restitution and legal charges being filed. We have a beautiful school, and so far student body's been taking care of it quite well, and it needs to maintain that. But also things like our laptops, things like textbooks, anything that's owned by somebody else, we need to treat it with care and respect. It goes back to our first core value. We respect other people, respect their things, respect their property. We do that, we live together in a really nice community. Safety in school is obviously a paramount importance, and weapons are not allowed on campus, obviously, for so many obvious reasons. Any possession of that can carry with it legal charges being filed as well as long-term suspensions. I referenced earlier sexting. Any action in which students are capturing any video in school, or they're, you're in the locker room, you think it's fun to catch a video of something like that in there, all of those things can carry with them severe consequences in terms of the law as well as the school consequences. Taking a picture of somebody and them not knowing about it and then sending it out, or any kind of inappropriate type of thing. We've had, at times in the past, we've had some people take some lewd pictures of people and send it out. Anything connected to the school regarding that is going to have very severe consequences, and we do take a strict line on that. And again, it goes to, that's a huge disrespect to other people, and it's inappropriate. We can get into the morality or the ethics of it, but it certainly is, we would all agree, very harmful to people, and it's not funny at all. So we we take those things very seriously, and when we act on them with consequences of suspension as well as charges being filed. Public displays of affection, we just ask that you keep that to hand holding. We know that when people like each other and they want to show affection, yeah, that we all get that, but keep it to a decent level in school, on school property and grounds while you're at school, as well as school activities. Hand holding, a quick hug, that's okay, but anything else, we ask that you refrain from that. We have a great student body and a great group working together, and it's because most of us do get that. So please, all of us, let's remember these things and live together in a good way. Now we're going to have Mr. Connell talk about the activities program.
We have a great opportunity for many, many students, all students, to participate in activities here at Liberty North ever since we started. We opened with every program having multiple levels of areas to participate, and we continue to grow. With that comes responsibility and what you represent when you put on a uniform here at Liberty North. As Dr. Jacobs went through a list of different things that go on and different rules and regulations that we have, those also apply in the athletic world and the activities world as well. If you violate one of those rules there, you also violate it as far as your team policy goes too. So you have to maintain another level of respect for your school and for what you're representing when you get into athletics and activities. One thing that we pride ourselves on is our student body and how they react at games and how they participate at games. We cheer for Eagles, we let the rest happen. So we're going to continue to do that at every home event that we have and on the road as well. We are Eagle Pride, we are Eagle Tough, we are Eagle Strong, and we want to continue to do that at every game and cheer for our team and not against the other team and not worry about what the other team does other than help our guys and our gals participate on the field. With eligibility, and if you're in an athletic program, you understand what the eligibility rules are. They deal with your grades, they deal with the proper physical, they deal with signing proper paperwork, they deal with also paying your pay to play. With that also is the citizenship rules. If you violate the citizenship rules, that can either remove you from the team, that can suspend you from the team, or that can dismiss you from the team. There's a lot of things that occur there, and one thing that you have to understand is you need to report that to your coaches if there's serious issues that have occurred, and the coaches then get that to me and we deal with it on that level. Continuing with that, once we have our program going and once the seasons are all in place, it continues to the next semester to make sure you're eligible for the next sport and activity. So make sure you take care of all that information. Athletes on game days, you need to make sure you're in attendance the entire day when there's a game. If you have a doctor's appointment or something, and we know that prior to, which we have to know prior to that day, then you're able to go to a doctor's and come back. But on game day, make sure you're attending to school, and that's what you're here for. Now, there are times when you'll get out early and you have to get out to make it to your events. Make sure you are responsible. Check with your teachers, see what work you're missing, see what work you can make up, see where you have to go, when you have to make up that test. Eagle Hour is a great time to take care of all that information and to make sure you do that. If you're getting out early, stop by your teacher during Eagle Hour and make sure you are checking with them to see what it is you need to do. When you participate, you're representing Liberty North, and remember that. On and off the field, people recognize you and, hey, that's a football player. Hey, that's a cross-country runner. Hey, that guy plays in the band. You represent us, and we want you to, and we want you to be proud of that. And you think about your actions and how you do that. We'll have younger kids come to games and events that look up to you. Make sure you understand that you are looked up to in the community by other students, and we want you to represent us in a great way. So it's going to be a great year for Eagle Athletics. It's going to be a great year for activities and everything around here. So let's do it right from the very beginning and have a super, super year.
I am Mrs. Fletcher, and this year I will be working with our freshman and sophomore groups. However, I will be available to work with any student at any grade level as necessary. Today I will be talking about ID cards and the importance of wearing them. During registration, all students should have received a temporary ID card. If you did not receive it, hopefully you'll get it on your first day. Students will have to wear a lanyard with a badge holder that will contain the ID badge this year. There's multi-purposes for that, and one of them is just so that we know who you are. It's for security reasons. But the other reason is that we are going to be utilizing them during Eagle Hour. Special privileges will be offered at that time. Our ID badges also will be used as our activity pass. If you do lose your ID and it needs to be replaced, there will be a $7 charge. Failure to have your ID card may result in a visit to the office, so please do wear your ID badges. They will be required this year. Our next item that we're going to discuss is going to be our student dress code. This is always a fun topic. As we start our school year and the weather is warm, I'd like to remind kids that student expression is encouraged and recognized by our school board and our building. However, there has to be a balance between what you wear, your expression, and the health and safety. So that being said, we do have some rules in place. Obviously, promoting drugs, alcohol, anything that's obscene or profane is not permitted here in school on your clothing. Any print or image that is derogatory or disrespectful to a race or ethnic group is also prohibited. No ball caps or head coverings are permitted unless you have special permission from one of the administrators. Ladies and gentlemen, bare midriffs, inappropriate tank tops, strapless tops, spaghetti straps, none of those are permitted as well. And boys, I know that tank tops for you, we do allow those as long as they're not the big basketball armholes. Shorty shorts for the girls, please make sure that the shorts are of appropriate length, and I would ask you to refer to your handbook for that information. And for safety reasons, during school, if a teacher asks you to perhaps address a piece of clothing or your hair in a science lab or your PLTW class, please do so. Again, that would be for safety reasons. A conversation with an adult must be handled respectfully, and we ask that at that time that you do address the situation. You could become an office referral if it is not addressed appropriately. My next topic is going to be our crisis information, and with our crisis information, some of you may have noticed we have gates at the end of Eagle Drive. Those gates have been installed for safety reasons. Our school is an open campus, and what we are trying to do is put more safety things into place so that our school is safer. Those gates will be closed at 8:30 in the morning, and they will be reopened at 3 o'clock. So if you are a traveling student, please keep that in mind. We will be doing 1 fire drill per month, 1 tornado, and 1 crisis drill per quarter. These drills must be taken seriously. If you are asked to move to a safe area, whether it is a tornado shelter or your safe zone for the fire, please do so in a quiet manner and listen for directions. Thank you for your attention. Next up is Mr. McCabe.
Thanks, Ms. Fletcher. I'm Mr. McCabe. I will work with students specifically in the 11th and 12th grade, but as Ms. Fletcher said, happy to work with and be around all of you, so I look forward to seeing you guys this year. A couple items that I want to talk about. Number one is attendance. Obviously, it's something of paramount importance to us, but it's also a law. Students, we refer to it as compulsory attendance, so between the ages of 7 and 17, you're expected to be here. Absences are unavoidable, so they may happen. What we ask is that if you are to be absent, guardians, parents make appropriate phone calls to our office to excuse those absences. Once contact is made, you would be entered into our system as an excused absence, and then at that point, you would have the procedures to go through to complete your makeup work. As you're gone from class, we do ask that you make contact with your teachers on a case-by-case basis to see what you can do to stay up to date with the classwork that's going on. Students who are under the age of 17 who are not attending can become a legal issue and referred to juvenile, so that we do ask that everyone who is here is in attendance at all times following the procedures for if you need to be excused from class. Students over the age of 17, obviously, we will be in contact with you, making sure that you're here to make sure that you're making your adequate progress towards graduation. In addition to attendance, a follow-up to that is our credit policy that we have that the board established. All of these classes that you take when you enter Liberty North count towards your graduation requirements in May of your graduating year. What we ask is that upon any absence for any reason, you bring appropriate documentation to our attendance office. By doing that, you allow for us to keep a record of the reasons why you're not in attendance. As I said, we understand that they're unavoidable. They're things that happen with you, with families that cause you to be away from Liberty North for time. With that being the case, we have to justify and understand why you would be missing instructional time. For students who don't have reasons to be absent for more than 10 class periods, you are subject to being denied credit for that course. And what that means is that if you were to receive a passing grade in that course, however you were absent 10 or more times, you may not receive the credit showing that you passed that course. That is something that we will be in contact with you during the semester as your absences arise. Myself and Ms. Fletcher will call you down, have conversations with you and your families. To underscore this point and so that you understand, if you take away from the attendance part of it, we must have proper documentation. We want you to be here 100% of the time. If you can take those two things from the attendance part, then you'd understand the main points of what we're trying to accomplish. In addition to attendance, referencing tardies. Tardies will be taken on a daily basis, hourly basis, and then consequences will be handled as the weeks expire. So as the week plays out, the next Monday, consequences would be followed up with. You are allowed to have tardies to class, no more than 2 per week. Once you start getting into 3, 4, and 5, you're looking at some consequences. Consequences range from detentions to suspensions. Being tardy to class sometimes might happen. If you have a legitimate reason to be tardy, we ask that you bring a pass, a note, and the teachers communicate with each other to excuse that so that you're not unfairly penalized for something that maybe isn't your doing. So we just ask that you're aware of that and try to make due diligence to be to class on time as much as you can. 2 more things that I'd like to talk about. One is discipline. Dr. Jacobs mentioned some of the major infractions here at North. One thing that Ms. Fletcher and I want to talk about is just the basic office referral process. If for some reason you are referred to the office for an incident that takes place in your class by a teacher, the number one thing that we ask is that you report on time to the office. So if a teacher asks you to report to the office, please immediately come to the office. There's a couple reasons for it, but the number one being we want to hear your side of the story. We want to afford you the due process that you deserve to listen to the story, to understand the facts of what went on, and maybe the situation is not as severe as you might internalize as soon as it happens. So we do ask that you come down right away so that we can process through whatever took place. After that part, we will then talk through whatever consequences could be assigned as well as any mediation or meetings that would take place between yourself and the teacher to make sure that that environment that you go back into you feel comfortable and safe in so that you can learn while you're here. The office referral process is something that we ask that you follow so that we can ensure that your learning takes place and all the learning of all other students in your class takes place. So I kind of gave you a couple main points for attendance. As far as discipline goes, if you're worried about what gets you sent to the office and what doesn't, if you can just think to yourself, if I'm doing something that disrupts my learning, or if I'm doing something that disrupts the learning of others, then my teacher will correct me and potentially could end up being something that I get sent to the office for. We are not trying to catch you doing things. It is our hope to teach you and help you learn, but we do ask that you follow those procedures so we can help with that. Lastly, this applies to our drivers here, parking procedures in your vehicles on campus. Ms. Fletcher talked about our security upgrade, so anyone arriving after 8:30 in the morning, please make sure to use 104th, and then anyone leaving before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, please make sure that you're using 104th to exit. You must have a pass displayed from your mirror at all times when you park on campus here. That pass costs $60. A lot of you purchased it at registration. If you have not purchased it and plan on driving, or you're later in the semester or maybe after the first of the year going to be of age to drive, receive a car, whatever the situation is, please come and see Ms. Kinder, and she will help get you a pass for what it, so you can make sure that you display it in our lot. That fee needs to be paid before we get you that permit. Also, make sure that you have driver's license and insurance information to get that pass. As I've said, make sure it's displayed at all times. With different folks that we work with, we will be monitoring that. Tickets are issued for different parking infractions. The number one issue that we had and that we were ticketed for last year was not properly displaying the permit. So please make sure that that's a thought that you have is when you park on campus, double check to make sure that your permit's there. If you receive a ticket, we ask that you come down to rectify it quickly. You see Ms. Kinder, either pay the ticket at that time or make arrangements to have payment so that we can get that ticket resolved and processed through. Just kind of a quick rundown of those major things regarding attendance, tardies, discipline, and parking. Ms. Fletcher and I look forward to working with everyone this year, making sure that your experience here at Liberty North is a great one. Now we'll turn it over to Ms. Camp, who will talk about different Eagle Hour and advisory things.
Hello, Eagles. My name is Ms. Camp, and I'll be working with you regarding Eagle Hour and advisory this year. In an effort to provide greater academic support for all students, we have made some major changes in those programs. Eagle Hour and advisory will take place between hours 5 and 6 this year. That's a significant departure for those of you who were in our building last year. Lunch is now associated with 4th hour. We'll have a couple of lunch shifts during 4th hour, one at the beginning, one at the end. Your teachers will tell you which lunch shift you have based on who your 4th hour teacher is. But Eagle Hour and advisory will take place between hours 5 and 6. Advisory will take place on Tuesdays for all students. And we will also have an additional advisory session on Monday for our freshmen so that we can make greater connection with Link and some other programs we have to offer for you. During advisory, at a minimum every couple of weeks, we will be doing grade checks. And I'll get to the grade checks in just a moment, but those feed into what you're able to do and how Eagle Hour might look for you. Eagle Hour will take place for all students on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Additionally, because our freshmen are in advisory on Monday, for our sophomores, juniors, and seniors, Eagle Hour will be taking place on Mondays. And Eagle Hour is designed to be an opportunity to provide extra academic support for you, a chance for you to get involved with clubs. So we want to be here for you in a way that helps you become greater students, but also better connected to our learning community. Back to those grade checks. If you are a student who earns grades of all A's, B's, and C's in all of your classes, you will have the opportunity to earn a Gold Pass. Gold Pass students can take part in activities that are taking place. Some will be sponsored by Link, some may be sponsored by other clubs. Gold Pass students may also go to the Eagle's Nest, the cafeteria. We're going to have some quiet study zones in the back hallway, and our Gold Pass students will have the opportunity to go there. What if you don't have a Gold Pass? You will be assigned tutoring, and you need to attend a tutoring session. Even if the teacher who assigned you happens to be absent on a day, make certain that you are attending a tutoring session. Those tutoring sessions may be with a teacher. We're also going to have some peer tutoring opportunities in the LMC. Now, just to be clear, teachers will assign any student in need of academic support regardless of what your grades might be. So make sure you're checking your student email. Your teachers are likely also going to tell you when they've assigned you, but email notifications will go out when those assignments are made. So please make sure that at least daily you're checking to make sure that you don't miss an Eagle Hour assignment, because there will be consequences associated for missing an assigned tutoring session, and we want to make sure we can avoid that if at all possible. So let's roll through what a typical day might look like. The bell rings, 5th hour ends. Where do you go? Well, if you're a Gold Pass student, you can go to one of those privileged zones or to the tutoring session of your choice. If you're a non-Gold Pass student, you're going to want to go to the tutoring session you were assigned to, because attendance will be taken and folks will know if you were there or not. Make sure whether you're a Gold Pass student or a non-Gold Pass student, when Eagle Hour starts, that you are in your destination by 1 p.m. when the tardy bell rings. After that, the only travel we should have would be a Gold Pass student who has their ID and their Gold Pass together in that piece on your lanyard so that you would be able to show your Gold Pass. If you are a non-Gold Pass student and you're traveling from one teacher to another, you're going to need your ID and a written pass from a teacher, because we want to make sure that students are truly taking advantage of all the academic supports that we have. So remember, we love you to pieces, and we want to make sure that every one of you has the opportunity for success here at North this year. Go Eagles!